the latest update we got in Borderlands 3 and Cryo actually being affected against anointed enemies, now it's time to update our Cryo build and show you how potent it can be. This is LaserBolt and welcome to today's video, guys. Today we're going to be taking a look at the updated version of our Cryo build, and we are actually going to be diving in and seeing how much potent this could be compared to the ones we've had. And we're actually really excited for this Cryo build due to the fact that, as you guys know, thanks to the new update, now Cryo actually affects anointed enemies. Before, we had to do the little switcheroo. We have to use our flacker or incendiary weapon to deal with anointed enemies. Now we can just straight out cryo the enemy to death, and we are 100% effective. This build is really amazing, and what's even more amazing about this build is that we're not really using a cryo weapon in general. We're just using a weapon that's going to allow us to freeze enemies and take advantage of cryo. Now, before we get started and show you all the amazing build, do want to remind you guys about our giveaway. We're giving away 2 free copies of Call of Duty Modern Warfare for the system of your choice. To enter and participate, it's super easy. All you have to do is click the link down below where it says Join Bold Nation, and you guys will be automatically entered. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and dive into the build. So we're going to be using all different sets of skill trees. We're going to be using the Undercover, we're going to be using the Double Agent, and we're also going to be using the Hitman. Now let's go ahead and get started with the first one, which is the Double Agent tree. We're going to start and tapping into 5 points into synchronicity, and this is just going to increase our gun damage and make us very effective. Really one that we like to have because our gun damage is going to get kind of almost maxed out with this build. Next up, guys, we're going to be investing a total of 5 points into Danny Brook, and this is going to basically do a kill skill, and this is going to give us weapon damage only for our Digiclone, but we're not going to be using our Digiclone. But it'll still give us weapon damage for Sane, which is really cool. Plus, in addition to that, we'll get health regen. Now, let's go ahead and go into the Hitman tree. Now, for the Hitman tree, we're going to be dumping 5 points into Violent Speed. And, of course, Violent Speed is going to give us movement speed, and it's also going to increase our duration of our movement speed. The reason why this pairs so well is because we're also going to be spending 5 points into Violent Momentum. This is going to increase our gun damage when we're moving. The faster we move, the more gun damage we have. Now, there's something that I always like to emphasize when I do a Sane build, and that is, guys, please make sure to play Sane properly. I've seen multiple people, not only on stream, but I also have seen videos where people play Sane the wrong way. Sane is meant to be moving constantly in order to be proccing this, gun damage. So make sure that when you're playing with Sane, you're not standing still, you're constantly moving. The more you're moving, the more gun damage you're going to be outputting. So please, guys, do me that huge favor. Next, guys, we're going to be dumping 1 point into Cold Hand, and this is just going to increase our reload speed. It's really effective due to the fact that the weapon we're going to be using, we're going to need that nice reload speed to be very predominant, because we want to make sure we're ready to kill the enemy and go back in and again. Then we're going to be dumping 1 point into Drone Delivery. What this is going to do, it's going to allow our Sentinel to drop a grenade occasionally. It does drop quite effectively. I mean, it's not like it spams it, but it does tend to proc. But that's the reason we're putting a point here. Then we're going to be putting a point. Actually, we're going to be putting 2 points into Salvation. This is a kill skill, and this is going to give us Life Steal. This is going to be primarily for our survivability aspect. Even though with this particular build, we do not need that survivability factor due to the fact that we're going to be constantly within a bubble, and we're just going to be tanking all the damage we're taking. But overall, in general, guys, you want to put 2 points here. Then we're going to be dumping 1 point into Death Follows Close. This is going to allow Sane a kill skill, and it's going to increase his effect and duration of the kill skills that he gets. So it's just pretty much going to tie in everything together. Then we're going to be dumping 1 point here, and this is going to be Playing Dirty. Another kill skill is that basically Sane's next 5 shots all have a chance to fire an additional projectile. Now, this is extremely important that you keep this in mind. Currently, the character I have right now on screen, he does not have the ear sets activated. I wanted to make sure that when I showed you guys the build, you guys didn't see the class mod until we actually show it, just in case a couple people sometimes have said, oh, did you dump 3 points? Did you dump 1 point in there? So this is a more effective way of showing you guys the build. So I want you to make sure you keep this in mind. Playing Dirty. Keep that in mind, guys, as we progress through this build. And last but not least, guys, we are going to go to the Undercover Tree. Now, for the Undercover Tree, we're going to be spending a total of 5 points into Adrenaline. And Adrenaline, what it's going to be doing, it's going to increase our action skill cooldown rate up to 35%. It's pretty good. Our skill is going to be pretty much active all the time. So it's something that you guys should definitely consider factoring into. And we're also going to be dumping a total of 5 points into Brain Freeze. Brain Freeze, what it does is that when we score a critical hit, which we will be scoring a lot, the enemies, there is a chance to slow the enemies and freeze the enemies in place. It's going to be really important. And you guys are, as you guys notice in the gameplay, we are freezing a ton of enemies. And I'm pretty much just hip firing if you think about it. I'm not really aiming down scope, and hip firing crit hits, it's actually pretty effective and pretty easy. So you guys are able to do this without a problem. Next, we're going to be dumping 3 points into stiff upper lip. Every time I guys read the stiff upper lip, I think it's like I'm punching someone. I don't know. That's what it feels like every time I hear this one. So whenever Zane is damaged, he gains damage resistance against damage type. Really important for our build. We are going to be taking damage. We're not going to be like, oh my goodness, we're so tanky. But we're not going to be taking, we're not going to be kind of dying a lot. But we are going to be taking a little bit of damage. And this is actually pretty good to have to avoid that damage. We're going to dump in a total of 4 points into Rise to the Occasion. Now, Rise to the Occasion is just pretty much going to be for our survivability aspect. It's going to help us quite a lot as we progress to the skill tree. Then we're going to be dumping 1 point into Confident Competence, and this is going to give us gun damage, and it's also going to increase our accuracy. Since we are, well, I mean, I don't suggest you guys should hip fire, or I'm not saying, hey, hip fire all the way, but if you guys get good at it, it's actually pretty effective. It makes you a lot faster when shooting in targets, so do consider that a factor. Then we're going to go and dump 1 point into Really Expensive Jackets. What it's going to do, it's going to give us an elemental status effect applied to Saint have a reduced duration. We're going to also dump 1 point into Futility Belt, and Saint gains resistance to non-elemental damage, which is pretty good. We're also going to be dumping a total of 1 point into Refreshment. Whenever Saint's damaged frozen enemies with his weapon, he gains some of that damage back to health. Once again, tapping into that survivability aspect. And last but not least, we're going to dump 1 point into Calm, Cool, and Collected. Whenever Saint freezes an enemy, his shield instantly begins recharging. Really important. If Saint shields are already full, he regenerates health for a few seconds. Saint health is already full, his action skill cooldown durations are immediately reset. Really important, guys. Really important. We are going to be proccing this quite a lot. Now, you're probably wondering, Laser, what skills are we running with this build? We're going to be running this one right here. Of course, our barrier. We're going to be doing our 360, which I love. And we're also going to be picking up retaliation. So, Sane and allies near the barrier gain increased gun damage for a few seconds after the barrier takes damage. We are going to be taking a lot of damage with our barrier, and that extra gun damage is really important. As far as our second skill tree, we're going to be picking up the Sentinel. Now, Sentinel is going to be playing quite a huge role in here, and you'll understand why once we go into our gear set. And we're going to pick up the Sentinel. We're also going to be picking up a Bad Dose. Go ahead and equip that. This is going to occasionally shoot out a beam of radiation that weakens the buff and Saints. Now, this is really important because I'm going to explain after I talk about the gear, after we get done with the skill tree, how you want to play this and how this Bad Dose is super duper effective on you being able to kill enemies fast. I mean, like super duper fast. You're not gonna blink and they're already dead. And last but not least, guys, we're gonna be picking up Winter's Drain. This is just gonna convert the Sentinel's primary weapon to cryo damage. Once again, we want to have that nice explosiveness going there. And since it's a cryo build, we want it to be effective. All right, so now that we already went through the skill tree, let's take a look at our gear. Now, we're only running 2 weapons, and I'm gonna explain why this is extremely important. So the first weapon we're running is a Maggie. Now, this Maggie is super duper important because of the Anointed skill. While Sentinel is active, gain 50% of damage as bonus cryo damage. Really, really important, and you're going to understand the synergy we have going here with all the other gear sets that we have going. But you want to make sure you have this Anointed perk, the Sentinel one, and you want to make sure that you're running a Maggie. The Maggie's super potent, especially after all the updates we've had. Extremely potent, especially with this build. Next up, guys, we're going to be running this one, and this is the Night Hawken. Now this says on action skill end, weapon damage is increased by 100% for a short period of time. This one is not a requirement. The Maggie is a requirement, but this one in particular is not a requirement. You could swap this weapon with any other weapon you want as long as it has this anointed perk. On action skill end, weapon damage is increased by 100%, or anything that lets you have bonus whenever your action skill. Now, with this build, your action skill is going to be active almost indefinitely, but there are times when you might not have your action skill and you want to have a very potent weapon. Weapons I want to recommend is definitely the anything Jacobs would be really, really good. The shotgun would be effective here as well. And if you could get this, like, you know, on action skill end, that's really going to be very powerful for you. But you could swap this with any other weapon you choose. Now let's take a look at the shields. Now I am running the Big Boom Blaster. Now you want to make sure you have a Big Boom Blaster. That is going to be a requirement, and the reason why is because this is going to pretty much keep your shields active almost 100% of the time. In addition to that, guys, you're going to be able to get a lot of things back when you're doing that. You're going to get 60% of your shield back. You're going to be able to get a grenade back, and you're going to have that heavy ammo. Even though we are not using a heavy ammo weapon, like I said, if you want to pop a heavy ammo weapon right here, and you want to switch that one for on action skill and the damage is increased, you're always going to have the ammo because you have this shield right here. Now, this is going to be a requirement. This is not like you have to get the one I have right now. You could get any other Big Bang Blaster just as long as you see what it triggers. Like, for example, this one triggers a 5,205 damage Nova when shield breaks, which is really effective, and it comes in handy when the shield breaks. It helps you kill out the rest of the enemies that are near you, or just, you know, be able to ADS any. Right. Now, the thing that is a requirement is this one right here. Now, this is going to be my class mod. Now, this one right here is the Sheep Shot Executor. Now, take a look at what we have here. We have plus 25 weapon damage. All right, that's pretty saucy. We have plus 45 weapon critical hit damage. So now you guys are seeing the Maggie, right? You're seeing what the Maggie's doing. Maggie, the critical hit chance is going to get increased by 45%. But that's not it, because it gets increased by another 25%, which puts us at 70% weapon damage. In addition to the 70% weapon damage, we're also getting a plus 31 pistol damage, which puts us at a total of 101 damage with the Maggie alone. In addition to that, when our Sentinel is active, which is almost active every single time, we are going to get a 50% damage as cryo damage. So you guys are seeing the synergy here, guys. This right here is a total monster and a killer. This is just going to make you super duper OP, because not only is this going to give you all that damage, but it's also going to increase your accuracy, your handling, your critical hit damage, and status effect damage, and status effect chance. A really OP class mod. Now, before we keep going with this, I do have a question for you guys. If you guys would like me to put this build and have you guys just download the build and put it up on your character, if this video reaches 200 likes, I will put that on my Discord channel. I'll leave the Discord channel link is down below in the description, but I will go ahead and put it up on the Discord channel so you guys can download it. But let's try to get to those 200 likes. Share this video with your friends so we can reach that, so you guys can get this build without having to do effort. Next up, guys, we're going to go and talk about, of course, our artifact. Now, for our artifact, we're using the Icebreaker Safeguard. Now, you want to make sure you get one that says versus frozen, so basically increased damage against frozen targets. You want to target that, but this one right here is not like the most effective one. There are a little bit better ones out there that have better flavor text. I just like the fact that this one gives me a plus 10 cryo damage, and it helps me get that increased damage against frozen damage, which is plus 35. Plus, we get that plus 50 cryo efficiency. Well, there are other ones, that artifacts that are a little bit better than this one, so if you guys have one, go ahead and swap that out. Just keep that in mind, that you want to make sure it gets increased damage against targets. And last but not least, guys, as far as our grenade is concerned, is the Merv Hextacular Hex. This is an amazing one. This one comes with the action skill start, regenerate 1 when you're a grenade. So if you throw a grenade, once your action skill gets started, you'll automatically regain a grenade. And since we are using our Sentinel as part of a bomber, you know, we want to have the grenade as often as we can. He does drop it quite frequently. It's not like by a lot, but he does. Now that we got all the gear out of the way, let's talk about how you want to play this. So for starters, of course, you're going to want to start at the game. You want to make sure you place down your barrier, pick up your barrier, release your Sentinel, and that's going to proc everything, and it's going to give you all the bonuses you're currently wanting to get from your weapon and also from your shield and your class mod. Now, if for some reason you lose your shield or you lose your sentinel, goes down, you're going to want to make sure you swap over to your secondary weapon, which has the action skill and weapon damage is increased by 100%. By the time that 100% is over, you should be back with your sentinel or your barrier, so just swap back to the Maggie and you should be good to go. Now, remember when I told you guys that the Sentinel was really OP when fighting enemies? What you want to do is, if you're fighting an enemy that is super duper OP, like an anointed enemy or an enemy that has multiple shields, if they have the blue, the yellow, the red, you're going to want to make sure you target your Sentinel and send your Sentinel to shoot it. Because what that's going to do, it's going to melt them instantly. It's going to bring their health down so fast. All you got to kind of do is 2-tap them with the Maggie and they're pretty much dead. That is how you want to play with this particular build. Let me know what do you guys think about this build. If you guys like it, if you guys dislike it, do you think we should change some things around? Do you think other weapons will fare a little bit better here? And if you do, guys, let me know what they are within the comment section below. Don't forget, if you want to see this build and want to get it for free, make sure we get this video to 200 likes and we'll share this video up on over Discord. I do want to remind you guys, we stream very frequently on Facebook, Mixer, and also on Twitch. Make sure you guys follow us on any of those three, guys, because we are going to be doing a massive giveaway on stream. So if you guys want to participate on the giveaway, make sure you guys head on to any of those three streaming sites. Or if you guys want to be super duper OP and get an extra chance of winning, make sure you follow us on all three, or check us out when we stream. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I will catch you guys on the next video.